What's up, everyone out there in YouTube land, Facebook world, social media world, the world, wherever you're watching this episode from today? I am your host, as always, Musings with MGL. Welcome to Musings with MGL. I am your host, as always, MGL. Thank you for watching another episode here. This one we're just going to get right into because it is breaking news. It is all over the interwebs, especially in the firearm community. And that has to do with this new thing with the stabilization braces. We all knew it was coming. They kept saying it was coming, and they kept delaying it, and then there was speculation about maybe it wasn't coming, and then all of a sudden, bam, here it is. So they gone and done it. Basically, the ATF just announced the rule that is going to ban stabilization braces. They can say all they want that it's not a ban, but this is essentially effectively a de facto ban on stabilization braces. So let's get right into what they've done and why they've done it. So I'm going to go straight to the source here. I'm not going to do CNN or any of these other magazines or websites that give their spin on it. We're going to go straight to the horse's mouth. This is right from the Department of Justice website from the Office of Public Affairs. The Department of Justice, if there was ever a contradiction in terms out there, I don't know what would be a better one. So, Justice Department announces new rule to address stabilization braces, accessories used to convert pistols into short barrel rifles. Today, the Department of Justice announced it has submitted to the Federal Register the stabilization braces final rule, which makes clear that when manufacturers, dealers, and individuals use stabilization braces to convert pistols into rifles with a barrel of less than 16 inches, commonly referred to as short barrel rifles, they must comply with the laws that regulate those rifles, including the National Firearms Act. In April 2021, at an event with President Biden, the Attorney General directed the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives to address the issue of stabilization braces. Quote, here it comes. Keeping our communities safe from gun violence is among the department's highest priorities, said Attorney General Merrick B. Garland. Almost a century ago, Congress determined that short barrel rifles must be subject to heightened requirements. Today's rule makes it clear that firearm manufacturers, dealers, and individuals cannot evade these important public safety protections simply by adding accessories to pistols that transform them into short-barreled rifles. This rule enhances public safety. Somebody tell me the last time there was a mass shooting or any sort of major crime committed with a short-barrel rifle, and maybe we'll talk about this. But it says this rule enhances public safety and prevents people from circumventing the laws of Congress passed almost a century ago. In the days of Al Capone, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, we're still in the days of Al Capone. Congress said back then the short barrel rifles and sawed-off shotguns should be subject to greater legal requirements than most other guns. The reason for that is that short barrel rifles have the greater capacity of long guns, yet are easier to conceal like a pistol. Like I said, show me the cases out there where people are going around committing crimes with short barrel rifles, and maybe we'll have a decent discussion, but I have yet to really see any. They are easily concealed like a pistol, said ATF Director Stephen Dettelbach. But certain so-called stabilization braces are designed to just attach to pistols, essentially converting them into short-barreled rifles to be fired from the shoulder. Therefore, they must be treated the same way under the statute. Since the 1930s, the NFA has imposed requirements on short-barreled rifles because they are more easily concealable than long-barreled rifles but have more destructive power than traditional handguns. Beyond background checks and serial numbers, those heightened requirements include taxation and registration requirements that include background checks for all transfers, including private transfers. Often when pistols are converted to rifles, by the use of a stabilizing brace covered by the rule, they have barrels less than 16 inches in length and must comply with the same heightened requirements that apply to short-barrel rifles under the NFA. The rule goes into effect on the date of publication in the Federal Register. So this is important. They have submitted it to the Federal Register, but it hasn't been published yet. So today is January the 14th. They announced it on Friday the 13th of all days. And so they submitted it, but it hasn't been, quote, published yet, but expect that to happen any day now. So there's a published date that's going to be imminent, and from that day forward, it becomes the law of the land, even though it wasn't voted on or passed by Congress. The rule goes into effect the date of publication in the Federal Register. The rule allows for a 120-day period for manufacturers, dealers, and individuals to register tax-free in the existing NFA short-barrel rifles covered by the rule. Other options including removing the stabilization brace to return the firearm to a pistol or surrendering covered short-barrel rifles to ATF. Nothing in this rule bans stabilization braces or the use of stabilization braces on pistols. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's their legal speak where they claim that nothing in here is, we're not banning it. Nobody's saying it's illegal and you can't have it. They're not like bump stocks. We're saying you can have them. We're just saying that you have to pay us $200 in order to keep them, or you have to destroy them going forward. On June 7th, 2021, the Department of Justice issued a notice of proposed rulemaking that during the 90-day open comment period, the ATF received more than 237,000 comments. My guess is 237,997 of those were, you guys are idiots and shouldn't pass this rule, but they, of course, ignored all those. And so you go down here, and at the bottom, you can click on this link, and I'll link all these things in the description below so everybody can read them on their own. This is the actual notice of the rule, factoring criteria for stabilization braces. I'm not going to read all this again, but it basically outlines the factors that they would consider. If you remember, for a while there was talk of something called a point system. They had that little form out where you would have to do a point system and measure, and you get a point here and a point here for things, and if you're over a certain number of points, you couldn't have them. It appears that they're not going with that system anymore. That form is my understanding, is no longer available on their website, or it's no longer a factor, and they're going to get rid of that form with those points, and instead they basically just created we know it when we see it, factoring criteria for what they are. So here's the final. You see right here. Read final rule. Watch this. Okay, so here's final rule: factoring criteria for firearms with stabilization braces. You want to know how many pages this is? Look, still going. Still going. Still going. Still going. I'm going to see if I can make it faster for everybody, not waste everybody's time by just watching me scroll here. See if I click down here at the bottom, see what the last page is. No, are we close? No, still not close. Yep, still going. This is the rule. Still going. Look, it's got illustrations and pictures and everything. It's like a child's book, but written by high-priced lawyers who work for the government. Look, I'm still going. Oh my God, I didn't realize it was this long. That's what she said. Can I get to the bottom of this thing? There we go. Let's see if this goes faster. Anyway, while it's scrolling, I'm still going to talk. So we're still going. We're still going. So anyway, so the point system is gone. So let me tell you what this means for you while we scroll through. And we're still going. So here's your options. If you currently have a pistol with a stabilization brace on it, and you are actually handicapped, in other words, if you recall, that's the whole reason they were basically made. If you are actually handicapped, there's apparently, it's okay for you to have it. You might have to send something in or whatever. Oh, look, here we are, the final 291 fucking pages. Look, 291 pages this god-awful monstrosity is. 291 pages. So, back to what I was saying. So, if you currently have one and you're not obviously a handicapped person who needs one, so if you've got your pistol with your stabilization brace on it, you have a couple different options. One, you can take it apart. You could just remove the stabilization brace from it, get rid of it, sell it, throw it in the ocean, whatever you want to do, and just go back to having an AR pistol. Put a buffer tube on it, all the stuff that were legal before the brace situation came out, you could still do. That's one thing you can do. You could register it as a short barrel rifle with the ATF for free in the next 120 days. So there is a 4-month grace period, for lack of a better term, where if you currently have an AR pistol with a stabilization brace on it, that configuration, that pistol with that specific brace, you can register for free with the ATF. You still have to fill out the E-Form 1, and I think you're going to have to take some pictures and send it in so they know exactly what system is on it, because you can't make it a different system. So in other words, you take the current system that you have, this current setup that you have, the pistol with the stabilization brace that's currently on it, you can register that configuration for free. If you say, you know what, if I got to register it anyway, I'm going to get rid of the SIG brace or the stabilization brace, I'm going to put a regular stock on it and just make it a short barrel rifle, you can still do that as well, but now you're going to have to pay the $200 stamp because they're not grace perioding you in for the legal item that you bought. You're now making a different type of item. So it's not a free shot at a short barrel rifle. It's a free shot at keeping the current configuration that you have intact. If you want to change that configuration at all, you're going to have to pay a $200 tap stamp. Your last option is just to destroy it, which I don't know why in the hell anybody would do that, especially when you can just take the brace off of it or register it for free. But you could just take it to the sheriff's department or turn it in the ATF and say, I don't want it, and they'll melt it down and get rid of it. So those are basically your options. You have 4 months from the date that it gets published to exercise that option. Now, there's of course going to be lawsuits filed. There's already a couple of them that were filed that were just kind of on hold because the law hadn't been passed yet. I'm sure there's going to be new lawsuits filed. Every gun owners group and organization out there is ready to jump at the bit to file a rule on this. We just got a favorable ruling from a federal judge on the bump stock ban. They declared that unconstitutional. So that's going to continue to go through the system. But remember, that was 2 years ago. So look how long it took for him to get that through the system. In the meantime, what's going to happen with this? If a court issues an injunction of some sort that says this rule has to stay not in effect until we sort it all out, then nothing changes. Everything stays in effect until they figure it out in the court systems. But unless some court issues an injunction, the rule is going to go into effect. And maybe in 2 or 3 years down the road, it gets overturned. But between now and the next 4 months, you got to make a decision on what to do with your item while you wait for the courts to figure out what they're going to do. So there it is. I mean, welcome to America in 2022 or 2023. I mean, you could say welcome to Joe Biden's America, but the bump stock ban happened under Trump's America. So it's a matter of it doesn't really matter who's in the office. It's a matter of these bureaucratic, unelected entities, these alphabet soup agencies just passing regulations, not passing laws through Congress. It wasn't voted on. The electors didn't get a chance to say anything about it. The representatives, it was basically done with a stroke of a pen through a rule change that all of a sudden converted probably, 40 million people, however many of these have been sold since they first dropped on the market over a decade ago, into criminals basically overnight. I mean, in 4 months, you're all going to be criminals if you have one of these and haven't done one of the things that they tell you that you need to do with it. So there it is, breaking news. That's the update for now. As things change, if there's new cases that come out or things get modified for it, obviously I'll let you know. So please like, subscribe, hit the bell, ding, ding, ding notification so you get notifications when something comes up, and I'll keep you all updated on it. But for now, they've announced that they're going to do it. It's all over the interwebs. This 291 page rule that has been promulgated by, there's a signature right there, Merrick B. Garland, by the Biden administration, and the ATF is going to go into effect any day now. So make your plans, stay tuned, and thanks for watching. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay vigilant, and as always, carry on.